Pony Express. Check out their line of penetration testing devices, including the Pwn Pad, the Pwn Phone, and the Pwn Pro. For enterprises, there's Pwn Pulse, providing continuous visibility into wired, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth spectrums across all physical locations, including remote sites and branch offices. For all those hard-to-reach places, there's Pony Express. Visit them on the web at ponyexpress.com. Tenable Network Security, creators of Nessus, the world's best vulnerability scanner. Jumpstart your security program today and evaluate Security Center CV, the continuous monitoring solution. For more information, visit them on the web at tenable.com. Onapsis, the leading provider of solutions to protect ERP systems from cyber attacks. Customers can secure their SAP and Oracle business-critical platforms from espionage, sabotage, and financial fraud risks. Visit them on the web at onapsis.com. Welcome back, everyone, to Security Weekly. This is the security news for this week. That's right. We're going to talk about, let's talk about the story we have in common, which involves selfies. As you know, I love selfies. I own a selfie stick.
Selfies involve your face palm.
Selfies are awesome, dude. Selfie sticks. I'm telling you, if you haven't tried a selfie stick, like it's a lot of fun.
So I got to tell you, I have one of my favorite Christmas cards still hanging up in our kitchen. We put them all over the kitchen cabinets when they come in, and I've got a Christmas card from Alex Hammerstone. Mm-hmm. Works at Trusted Sec with Dave.
Okay. Yeah.
And the picture on the front is them he and his two kids standing in the front yard with the big blow-up Santa behind them and all dressed nicely. And they all have selfie sticks taking a selfie. And it says, you have yourself a Merry Christmas. Hey, your selfie a Merry Christmas.
Like, nice.
It's still hanging up.
That's awesome.
It's almost February.
That's awesome.
It's awesome. But taking selfies at work.
People love selfies, man. People love their. I mean, selfie is kind of like a thing that like people get annoyed with now.
Get annoyed with and/or love.
Yeah,
or both.
Yeah, but like it's a trend that keeps happening. But the problem is, like you said, you get a lot of background, especially with the selfie stick, dude. Like there's tons of stuff in the background.
Hell, even just taking pictures at work, selfie, whatever you get in the background, still is potentially dangerous.
Right.
And we've seen this a lot. The point of this particular article was saying that people that are taking selfies at work are exposing stuff within the energy sector, SCADA, smart grid, you name it, and the stuff that's being displayed in the background is total OPSEC fail. And
it's sensitive.
And this is not necessarily a new thing.
Sensitive things in the background.
Yep. Like how many times have we talked about on the show someone taking a picture during a press conference?
And the Wi-Fi password is in the background.
And the Wi-Fi SSID and password is on the background. There was one for some fire stuff. One of the big wildfires that we talked about, that the FTP username, password, and server was listed in the background of the whiteboard during the press conference. Mm-hmm. All of this stuff. And this one is definitely tied towards the energy sector in that these pictures that are being posted from, energy workers taking selfies in the office are potentially, breaking huge OPSEC stuff and allowing grid attackers to gain all this information. Mm-hmm. And I talked about this stuff as part of my talk as part of the DEF CON fail panel several years ago. And that Tennessee Valley Authority, or TVA, had a bunch of pictures on their website from press events and had pictures of like their monitoring SOC and all this stuff and all sorts of amazing stuff on these pictures, including being able to tell that they're running Windows XP and so forth and so on. But first, let's take a selfie. And just some of the stuff was amazing, and quite honestly, it was some of the stuff.
Selfies are bad.
That was amazing for Stuxnet.
Yeah, Stuxnet was bad.
When you read into the story of Stuxnet, a large part of that was the intelligence gathering to figure out what PLC controller they were using for that particular power plant. So it makes it a lot easier if you just post it directly online.
Sorry, we're putting our selfies on Instagram. I can't.
But
I'll stop talking. It's
I
fine.
I'm concentrating.
so in the story, there is actually a link to a story from 2011 where they took President Ahmadinejad's press photos from the presidential website.
What about a dinner?
Yeah, exactly. From his presidential website for his tour of the Iranian nuclear distillation. Yeah, that's not the right word. Facility, enrichment facility, and they put pictures, and they had some of the screens at the enrichment facility, and they were able to determine the type and manufacture of the centrifuges and the way in which they were configured for layout and you name it, just from these two pictures, which only had a couple of inches of screen showing, which was just awesome. Same sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
What's the hashtag you think selfies are insecure? Is that a good hashtag?
What about I am the threat?
Selfie is the threat? Sorry, I did post my selfie to Twitter. Sorry.
Well, you've seen all the doxies that I retweet, right?
What's that?
You've seen all the doxies that I retweet, right?
Oh, of course.
It's beautiful stuff. It's
yeah,
beautiful.
So half of those are people taking pictures with their credit cards.
Uh-huh.
And the other half are
seen
people
that.
taking pictures with their ID. They're generally super excited.
Yep. Somebody has the Twitter account out there that basically scrapes the public Twitter feed looking for people posting pictures of their credit cards.
I think that's Essobi.
Is it? Is that you?
Well, so the guy that tried to automate what I do tried his hand at it, and it doesn't work the same way. There's too much garbage. There's too much stuff to wade through.
There's too many people taking selfies.
Well, that and they get taken down pretty quick. So that's the whole thing. I don't violate the terms of service of Twitter because they initially post it and I retweet it. So if they delete them, it deletes my retweet. So I'm not directly violating the TOS.
See, yeah, no, I'm intimately familiar with these TOS things with Twitter, and because Ben Jackson and I did the I Can Stalk You project for many years about taking pictures with embedded EXIF latitude and longitude, and putting those to a street address and retweeting it with the street address.
And did that site get taken down?
We suspended it because, quite honestly, the picture sharing services were changing the way they were doing the URL layout for us to retrieve images so quickly that we couldn't keep up. They were changing it in some cases 3 and 4 times a day. So it just became there was no
rather
return.
than strip the metadata, they were just changing the data retrieval method.
Yep, and I think that was just because of the fact that they were growing so rapidly and that they had to make changes. And yeah, and quite honestly, it was a labor of love. It was something we did a couple hours a week and in spare time, and it just became that we were spending 30 hours a week trying to fix it. And
there was a really racy, trashy one that you guys were.
Oh, there was 2 of them. And I have entire contents of those sites on hard drive.
I think as we found going through all of those images in the name of research was that it was just way easier to go find real porn on the internet.
Oh, yeah, because the other stuff was not good.
It was not. Sometimes you'd find it.
A gem.
Yeah,
a gem hidden in the
rough. But most of the time it was pretty rough.
Yes. Yeah, and quite honestly, I discovered things that I didn't know existed doing that research.
That's saying something.
Rule 42.
Yeah, I didn't know pterodactyl
42.
porn was a thing.
It's a thing.
Oh, yeah. Pterodactyl style. That's the best.
Okay, that is really scary, Apollo.
No, Apollo with with people in pterodactyl costumes.
Pterodactyl costumes.
Oh, they were full costume.
Yes.
Yeah, it's an old thing now, but at the time it was a new thing.
Google for creamed corn sometime.
Oh no,
no, God! Now I have that image stuck in my head.
You haven't seen the whole series.
No, I have. I have. It's just horrible.
I think I have them right here, actually.
Oh no, he's so hairy. It's just all, and there's creamed corn.
She's kind of hot though.
No, but
they must have paid her a lot, or not.
Oh God!
Can we talk around for the Shmoocon when Snipe shared the Jurassic Park erotic fan fiction website that we were?
Oh shit!
Was that on stage or was that?
Well, before Fire Talks, we popped up the website to horrify people as they came in, and being us, the next thing you know, we're looking at source code, the page source, making fun of them for building websites with Microsoft Word or whatever the hell they had done, and it was like, oh my God, that's more obscene than Jurassic Park erotic fan fiction is building websites with Word, and people were
That's
horrified
really bad
by
if
that.
you're on a pornography website, Jack, and you're viewing the source. I'm just saying.
Oh, it depends what source you're viewing. Wow.
Hey,
These images are all right, but the HTML is really what turns me on.
See that or the beaver on his head.
Oh
I know
my
that
God.
website's hot, but man, you should view source. I'm just saying.
I always click Facebook like just to make sure I have a bookmark. For later. Yeah.
For later. Yeah, Facebook
So,
is the new
but since
bookmarking service.
since we're on the topic, the porn industry is in kind of disarray right now in terms of revenue.
What?
Their projected growth is only 1% per year for the next 5 years.
That's what happens when you get old.
Jesus Christ. Jack always steals my thunder. Virtual reality porn is what the porn industry wants to be as the technology that saves them. I mean, and the porn industry has always been on the bleeding edge of technology, certainly. But I think they've almost done it to a fault, whereas now people can go to any number of sites and get porn. So they're saying, well, if you're going to pay for porn now, which a lot of people aren't doing anymore, you have to buy our virtual reality porn, and you wear the Oculus Rift goggles, and it's like you're on the set of the porn movie, Larry.
You're about to tell the Onyx, aren't you?
We're going way past
now, are you like you're on the set or you're in the set?
No, like you're on the way I read it.
Is it POV or on the set?
There was a scene in an article today that described it as like you were standing on set, and like standing on the set while they were filming the porn.
Okay.
I haven't done it yet.
Me either.
Yeah,
With the virtual reality headset thing, I think that's kind of weird.
I don't know.
I don't know.
My thing is like
they're like $600 too.
See, I'd probably get caught with my wife coming home, and I'd have to like.
That's what we were saying before. Like, dude, like, how do you can't see? Like, so I got headphones on, right? So no one hears the
you're
porn.
fucked.
And then I got this headset on. Like, dude, I was joking with the guys before. I'm like, so what happens? You take your headset off. You're like, hi, grandma. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like. Shit.
Hi, honey.
Hi, honey.
What you doing? I'm looking for the garbage file.
Researching security of virtual reality porn. It's like, yeah, there's no getting out of that one, dude.
I got really excited by a really good PCAP.
Wow. Searching for the garbage file.
Anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't know if that's going to be a thing or not, but
would you call that hard-hitting news?
Yes. Yes, we talk about the news that is exploiting things and finding holes in stuff.
Exploiting all your holes.
Exploiting all your holes.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some real security news.
Speaking of exploiting all your holes,
the story where the hacker that sent heroin to Brian Krebs. Why would you send heroin to someone? I don't understand this.
To get them busted. To get them busted.
Is it really? So,
it's
what do you do?
Why they swatted him. Because he's good at what he does.
So, but was the goal to send heroin and then call the police on him?
Yeah.
To say that he was in possession.
Hope that it was detected in the mail or however, and just have the postal inspectors show up when they delivered it.
So what did Krebs do when he got the heroin?
I think he's built quite a relationship with law enforcement over the years.
I would imagine so.
Swatting and other things, and
I just find this disturbing that someone like Brian Krebs is coming under this much scrutiny and attack from the underground community because he's such a respected journalist and publishes fantastic articles.
Yeah, well, he's the part of the reason why he's such a fantastic journalist is he breaks these stories that.
Yeah, he makes himself a target because of what he does.
Exactly, they're very taboo in quote in those groups of people.
So anyway, the dude that sent him heroin has pled guilty.
Pled guilty to what?
That was
you get an asshole.
Dude, if that was a crime, prisons could be. You could build enough prisons.
Paul would be there a long time ago.
Because a lot of us would be there a long time ago, dude.
If that was a crime, the government would collapse because everybody in D.C. would be in prison.
Wow. Oh.
So he pled guilty to not to the heroin, but to credit card theft and illegally accessing more than 13,000 computers.
Gotcha.
Whoa.
That's a heck of a sentence he's probably looking at there.
Yep.
Yeah, he was actually extradited to the United States from Ukraine.
From Ukraine, huh?
Yeah, that's the
Well,
joke.
the Ukraine needs the U.S.'s help, and therefore they're going to do it. You know, if he were in suburban Moscow, I don't think he would be extradited.
No, we wouldn't have gotten him.
Of course,
they
if
were
he's in
after
New
that
Zealand,
one guy.
like Kimball, he'd get extradited. That's gonna
Yeah. Well, they were after that one guy who was he was a Russian politician's son, and they didn't wind up catching him for years until he went on vacation. And they caught him out of the country.
Oh, was that the one that was part of the TJX and stuff? His
Yep.
Some of his testimony was used against what's his name, Gonzalez.
Albert.
Yeah, and the guy had good OPSEC. Everything was encrypted, but everybody, I'm sure, will think to that specific XKCD cartoon. If you don't know the story, his flight was rerouted, and he ended up in Turkey, and he was taken off a plane in Turkey, and they asked him to decrypt his laptop, and he said no. And they said, okay, why don't you think about it? And after 3 days in a Turkish prison, he volunteered his decryption key.
Rubber hose.
Yeah, actually, probably just not, because they just put him in the Turkish prison.
Yeah, just did 3 days in a Turkish prison.
Yep, 3 days without food and water, and
he volunteered his
room with
encryption
no
key,
toilet.
and then some of that was used in a U.S. court.
I mean, I like tzatziki, but still, after 2 days,
Wow.
I can't do tzatziki after 3 days. That's just not gonna happen.
I read a headline this week that the Angler exploit kit is now hooking execs with the Xmas flash hole. That just sounds.
I beg your pardon?
Yeah, that sounds so dirty. Now,
And
Jack and others, you can probably guess where this headline came from.
The Onion?
Register.
No, the Register.
No
Thank
Reg.
you very much.
No, Reg.
The real story is that the Angler exploit kit is incorporated a flash vulnerability from December of last year in a so-called this dark hotel campaign, right, where they get on hotel Wi-Fi.
Yeah, we talked about dark hotel.
They do the campaign, and then it puts crypto wall ransomware on so-called executives, but it's really anyone who's staying in the hotel. Yeah.
By that rate, you could call me an executive, right? Because I stay in hotels a lot.
I guess so. I mean, you're an executive.
You're a platinum executive.
Wow.
That's right. It's a loose term.
I guess so.
Yeah, you could masquerade as an executive.
Yeah.
Maybe on the
There's a
phone.
whole nother rant. Platinum. So I got a free bottle of frickin' water. Woo.
Oh, those hotel
true.
rooms are really dry, Jack. I mean,
75 frickin' nights a year. A bottle of water isn't frickin'.
And it's one of those little tiny bottles of water too. They're like this big.
And it's the bottled tap water crap too.
Yeah. It's disgusting water.
Although I gotta say, in Vancouver this week, it was one of the rare times when I stayed more than 4 hours in the hotel room, and I got an upgrade to a decent suite on a high floor. It was kind of cool.
Vancouver, I heard, is a really great place to go.
Not this time of year. It's like going to Seattle this time of year. I mean, it's a cool city, but it's
The weather kind of stinks.
wet. First of all, they have no degrees because they use that. I mean, it's the crazy
Celsius,
foreign nonsense that they use up there.
Kelvin.
darn metric system.
Where's
Kelvin or something?
Where's Santa tonight? I wanted to make fun of him and his ranting. I mean, he's beaten that dead horse of Chip and Pin forever, but it was kind of cool having Chip and Pin cards that actually work up there because it's like a developed nation.
Yep.
But anyway, no, Vancouver's a cool city, and I'll be back this fall, I think.
Yeah, Jack. We had some of our guys last week in Minneapolis, St. Paul. They got off the plane and it was 11 below without wind chill.
So
Fortunately, we didn't send the guy that lives in Florida.
Yeah, it's true.
I'll be in the Golden Isles area of Georgia off and on for the next week and a half or so, and in between I will drive to Boca. So
Boca.
Except Paul, you know who I will be with there. So
A bunch of really old people who are retired.
No, with a bunch of
Oh yes, you'll be in
sales
Boca.
weasels.
Oh yeah. Well, no, it's not that bad, Jack. It's not.
Sales weasels.
No,
I mean,
no, dude. I have to say, I forget the fact that I work there. Like our sales team is pretty cool, dude.
They all get chairs.
No,
the first
they
day.
do. Well, not
They
only
get
that, they're cool people to work with. I do.
Yeah.
I have to work with sales, and I have to say they're pretty cool people to work with. Jack, are you going to back me up on this or not?
yes.
I'm putting you on the spot.
Yes, and
It's much. It could be much worse, and it likely is much worse other places. Is what I'm saying.
something I was told decades ago in the car business was, look, we all have to work with salespeople. Just try not to stare at them if you get stuck in line behind one at the grocery store.
I like working with our sales. I genuinely say that, Jay. I do.
I am good working with most of our sales team. I'm not going to lie. I'll say most.
Mhm.
And the sales engineers I like working with.
Yes.
We have some
Absolutely.
sales engineers who
They're
are
sharp, dude.
really outstanding.
Yes.
I mean, the worst of them are very good, I think.
Mhm. I agree with that.
And that's one of those things. Actually, talking about sales engineers, Steve McGrath and I last year at B-Side San Francisco did a talk on how to be in the security business without selling your soul, how to sell security without selling your soul. And, the first hurdle is finding a company that lets you be honest. You represent your company in the best light possible without actually lying to people and without doing, promising vaporware and whatever. And companies like that tend to be full of sales engineers who we hang out with at cons because they're cool folks.
Absolutely. And I had to say,
And it's
I'm on quite a few sales calls for our day job, and I don't have very many complaints. I don't have zero complaints. I mean, there are some things that I'm like, we can, there's some things we can do better in certain circumstances, but the majority of the time, dude, I'm like, that went really well. Like most, I'm like,
that is becoming increasingly more and more my world in getting it being with a little bit of role change in Guardians.
But dude, it's hard, right? I mean, we have a technical background. You've been a sales call and like nail that. Like that's a different world, and to have the technical stuff be accurate and have the sales stuff be spot on, like that's a balancing act, dude. It really is. And to have me get off most sales calls at 10 of them and be like, yeah, that was cool. That was awesome.
Yeah. Yep, I got to tell you. I mean, it was one of those things that I've never been a salesperson, and I knew years ago, just based on my appearance, that my retail sales career was effectively over. Great quote from a friend of mine. We did some. I got a chance to bring in a lead to In Guardians and did the sale, and we're still in process, and it's been a different experience for sure.
Absolutely. You know what was cool though? Like I learned a lot from being on sales calls and interacting with people. And I was on a call this week, and they were like, "Hey, we run a vulnerability scanning system, and we take in the results, and we open tickets for everything, and then we run the same scans the next night, and we look at the results, and if something has been fixed, just sheerly based on the results, like we did nothing, we close the ticket." Like, dude, that's really cool.
Wow.
Like, you build all that software and infrastructure. I'm like, on the vulnerability management maturity curve, I'm like, dude, you're pretty high just for that. Like, props to you. He's like, we have a small security team, so like, we got to do everything we can to lessen our workload. And look, if a scan runs one night and just by sheer fact of operations, that vulnerability gets fixed, close the ticket automatically. I'm like, dude, that's props to you, man. That's awesome. I approve.
I do have one bit of advice for anyone who's ever on a sales call. And it's sometimes hard with some salespeople to get them to understand this. But if you're talking to a customer or potential customer, or even it's like, we're never going to sell here, you will learn a lot if you shut up and listen.
Shut up and listen.
Exactly.
Nope, I totally agree, Jack.
It's like, wow, I learned stuff. And sometimes it's like, wow, you have chosen a competitor's product, and I understand why. And that's what's great is no longer being in product management. Then I get to go abuse people for shortcomings and things.
And sometimes, Jack, on the far side of that, it's I'm really glad you actually chose competitors' project.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's a good point. That's a good point.
Anybody that's been in a sales call, there are sometimes times when, again, back to most of us being technical, or at least I used to be. you kind of high five with the sales engineers sometimes when you don't make the deal because
that was going to be a
the
nightmare. Yeah.
support team will thank you for not having that customer. I'm thinking more of the previous company that I was with. It's like those people shouldn't have firewalls. They shouldn't have computers.
Right. Larry, there was a story here. The FTC commissioner, Terrell McSweeney, supports the idea of giving people access to the source code of stuff to ensure better security and privacy of the Internet of Things. This is someone from the FTC,
the Federal Trade Commission.
Federal Trade Commission. Do they carry? But can they come out and say this? Is this an FTC?
They did.
I mean, they did, but like, does it carry any weight?
Well,
I guess is my question.
Thinking about this and thinking about just what I know about IoT devices, I'm throwing numbers out there. Half or 75% of them are based on open source software.
I don't know if it's that high, but a lot of them are.
Or based in the GPL.
And none of them, and none of them publish the source code as
No,
required
I wouldn't
by
say
license.
none. Some do.
Very
They're
few.
Single-digit percentages.
Yeah, it really depends on what they published and what it was based on. So I do a lot of embedded research. Like I said, I take apart lots of tiny computers. I dropped the O'Day on the VoIP phones 3 years ago at Derby, along with the 6net exploit. So from what I've seen in the SCADA arena, a lot of developers and companies are pushing towards lowering their total cost of ownership by adopting Linux primarily as their development platform. Most of the tools are free, the admins are cheap, the engineers are plentiful, and a lot of them are orienting towards that just to lower TCO as ARM chips get faster because they don't need them to be that fast.
Yep. So, from a financials perspective, it makes so much sense.
It does, and that's actually got to be part of the FTC thing because DHS, the U.S. federal government, is pushing hard for open source stuff. I've had some conversations with people at DHS, and one of their concerns, we spoke to the folks a couple months ago that are doing the Swamp, the software assurance marketplace, and part of that was the federal government's increased reliance on open source software. And coming up with tools to improve the quality. But having been at an open source company in the past, if you follow, timeliness, if you count timeliness as a factor, there aren't a lot of companies that get licensing and distribution of code properly. They often will update annually, for example, and update their software several times during the course of the year, but they won't put the latest out in a reasonable amount of time. And I'm really, really glad I don't have those conversations anymore.
No, I was in the middle of a project a few years ago, turning the Synology platform into deployable VPN endpoints. And I called them on numerous GPL violations where they had various portions of code that were under GPL that they had never released and had been going on for years. I sent them an email on it, and it was literally next quarter before they released it.
If I were an asshole, I would say still secure right now, but I'm not like that, and I don't carry a grudge that long, so never mind. Does anyone know that story?
You're bringing is that ancient history at this point, Jack?
At this point, it is ancient history, but
because they got what? Did they get bought?
And several other folks have friends or possibly employers who would twitch at the name "Still Secure" to this day.
Do they get bought or go out of business or merge or what happened to them? I don't remember.
So there was an interesting blog post a couple of weeks ago about unicorns and cockroaches in the information security space. And,
was that on your blog, Jack?
No. The cockroach thing was when times get tough, some companies, instead of becoming magical, revert to being a services company to crawl through. And that's, I think, where Still Secure is. In my personal opinion, not speaking for Paul, Larry, or the rest of the team or my employer,
This is going to be good.
Yeah. Story time with Jack. Play the douche commercial music.
What did Bob do? What's Bob doing?
Well, so never mind.
No.
That's
No,
overly
no,
candid.
you can't leave
No,
us
it's
hanging
overly
now.
candid. So
What did Bob do?
So allegedly, Still Secure had products that didn't always follow GPL. I think it was V2 at the time, and there may have been intrusion detection systems and vulnerability scanning systems, amongst others, Linux kernel firewall, that some people disagreed with that company's interpretation of licenses. And they weren't the only company that had that issue, but they were one that,
Interesting.
Yeah. So
vulnerability scanners and intrusion detection systems. I wonder who you could be talking about, Jack.
They were roommates at one point in time. So anyway.
Wow.
Oh, God.
Wow.
So, but these are all allegations, and who knows? And that pretty much guarantees I won't get nominated for that thing again, because that thing is run by that guy that was there at that company. Man. Anyway, so moving on.
The beauty is, Jack, you don't have to be nominated to play, so we can advertise your nominations here on the show as well,
or lack thereof.
Yes, or lack thereof.
It's whatever. So moving on.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news here, but it is an important note to make that the article we were just discussing was not the official position of the FTC. This was her personal opinion.
Personal opinion.
Gotcha.
And it was if you read it, it's pretty straightforward. It's like, well, I'm paraphrasing. Well, duh, you ought to be able to look at the code and see if
So it is important to note that she did say that they are building the capacity in-house within the FTC to start reviewing these things. So it's a step in the right direction.
Which is typical federal government, in that the DHS has already built this capability through DHS, through the Mortgage Institute and all the other folks working on the software assurance marketplace to do this without the FTC doing it in parallel, redundantly with your
Jack, we wouldn't be true Americans if we weren't paying for the exact same thing a couple of times.
Redundant offices of redundancy.
Yes. And at highly escalated rates. Anybody want to buy a hammer?
I'm kind of surprised they would come out in that position, though, with the cyber UL stuff that Mudge is pushing, which really looks like it's going to come to fruition.
No, it's good. We interviewed him on that, actually.
Yeah. I got really excited about it. I had a similar idea 4 or 5 years ago, crowdsourcing funding for building basically libraries of IoT and having analysts work on them in their free time.
Oh, yeah, that was one of the other interviews we did last year. We interviewed Mudge.
Yep, we did.
So your conference room could be a watchful protector. A deliberately hidden backdoor account in several AMX Harman professional devices. Do you have the story as well, Larry?
I did not.
You can see one of these devices sitting in front of President Obama in one of his conference rooms.
I figured you guys would talk about this last week, so I didn't include it.
Yeah, so apparently this company does AV signal distribution, digital signage technology management. They're distributed worldwide in conference room, homes, classrooms, including a lot of military and government installations as well. The backdoors are kind of interesting in that one of the backdoors is called Black Widow. That's what I was trying to say. The other backdoor is a variation of I Am Batman.
That was the remediation, too, after the vulnerability was disclosed to them. So that all they did was just change the password.
Change the password.
The same hard-coded password across all the devices.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. The picture in this article shows President Obama, Joe Biden, and what's her name's character, Black Widow. What's her name? In the Avengers, the
I haven't seen it yet.
The movie with the thing.
The movie with the thing and
the flying women with
she's
the tight
hot.
suits.
The hot chick.
Jennifer Lawrence?
No, the hot chick in Avengers. What's her name? Someone.
Scarlett Johansson.
Yes, thank you. Scarlett Johansson and Batman are in the conference room with President Obama and all his advisors. The picture, look at the picture.
Dude, that's totally not shopped. I can't even see the pixels.
That's right. Maybe Scarlett Johansson and Batman. It was probably the dude who does those videos about Batman with his family. You ever see that guy?
Yes.
Dude, that guy's awesome.
Yes.
Dude, his wife must want to murder him. If that was me, my wife would murder me.
Yes.
Like, she would literally beat me with a baseball bat if I was like,
I see you got some cold cuts. I see you went to the grocery store and got cold cuts.
You're doing laundry. I want extra starch on my underwear. He does all kinds of stuff. He's hilarious.
Jack knows.
Ah, boy. Anyway.
So anyway,
we were just doing our Batman impersonations.
Batman.
Really seals in the flavor. Have you seen that video?
Yes.
Yes. I fight crime in a rubber suit, and I hadn't showered that day. Really seals in the flavor. The memories. I love that video.
You know, the great thing is
in an order that might surprise
I haven't been
you.
on for months, and then I make a couple of shows. It's like it never.
It doesn't change, Jack. We are who we are. We're comfortable in
can
our
we-
own
wait,
skin
we haven't-
and in our rubber Batman suits.
suits.
Okay, it seals in the flavor. Okay.
So where are the WordPress and Flash phones?
There was a Flash. We talked about a Flash one already.
Right. It's
We don't have a WordPress
how about
one this week.
Java instead? Will you settle for Java, Jack?
Java,
Will you settle for Java?
Always Java.
What about Android?
Android?
Flash.
There's a great my story number 17 auto-pwn every Android device. You gotta
is
read this
brilliant.
article. It is just awesome. Using
this
better
is the
cap
one
to
that's-
just
This is not simple, but this is elegant, right?
yes. Please go read that. It is just phenomenal story.
And Oracle plans to kill the hackers.
Do the Java browser plugin.
The great thing is,
Why do you need
gonna
Java
do
in the browser anyway? Java should have been server side from the start anyway.
I'm sure
Write
that-
once, run
I'm sure that
anywhere is
everybody will
bullshit.
disable it right away, right?
Yeah, so now you write it. So now you write the exploits once and you run them on your server instead.
Yeah. Well, no, servers. Now, Apollo, I know you do a lot of development. Back me up. Server-side Java is pretty cool, right?
Oh yeah, no, totally. I mean, you have a lot more control over it, and you can shoot to multiple clients. So yeah, totally.
Except
There was a dramatic pause there. I thought
Yeah.
it was going to totally. I thought it was going to totally shoot me down. Like, Paul, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
No, Paul. I would argue that pushing Java server side, from my understanding, is either significantly easier or by default gives the ability to break the Java sandbox.
Well, basically, yeah.
I mean, no comment.
With power comes responsibility.
With yes.
Great responsibility. Yeah, and it looks like Apollo's drinking out of a jug.
It's moonshine.
Could be.
Water. Gotta sober up.
Got to sober up from this morning.
All that Java.
All those Bloody
Oh,
Marys.
Yeah, it was funny. I saw somebody. I was shopping the other day, and somebody was at the canning supplies, and I saw them grabbing a bunch of mason jars, and I was like, "Ooh, oh no, I'm on Cape Cod. That's probably making jelly or something."
Jelly or pickles.
Jelly and jams.
It's amazing how your perspective shifts.
Yes. Jackie would have a field day in our basement because we've probably got 10 cases of jars unused. No, we have 10 cases of jars unused, and we have 2 cases sitting on our kitchen counter right now filled with beef stock. So that I just canned the day after the snowstorm, and I had to shovel the deck to be able to go outside and can them.
Well, I want to thank everyone for participating in this episode of Security Weekly. Essobi, thank you so much for coming on our show for the first time, sticking around for the whole thing, helping us with stories. Thank you so much. Can't wait to see you at the next security conference. Make sure you check out Circle City Con, circlecitycon.com, June 10th through the 12th. Make sure you check it out.
Damn, you're good.
Thank you.
You know what it is? My wife's due date is the 11th, and I remember that was exactly in the middle. So, yes. Apollo, Jack, and not Kevin on the lines via Skype as well. Guys, thanks so much.
Thank you.
It looks cold there, not Kevin. Do you guys not pay the heat over there at Pony Express?
I don't know what heat is.
Yeah.
It's a whole concept I just don't understand.
That's right. Mr. Larry Pesch is here in studio. Thank you, as always. Wonderful having cocktails and taking selfies with you, which we posted on Twitter during the show, which is hilarious. You can check our in-show selfies out on our various Twitter feeds.
The other big one, securityweekly.com/vote.
Yes, go vote for us, baby. We're write it in. Security Weekly, write it in.
Because quite honestly, in my opinion, how awesome would that be for us to go and win the RSA Security Awards on a write-in when we didn't even get nominated?
It's like writing in John McAfee for president and him winning president. Actually, I think he's on the official ballot, but is he? No, he's a write-in. Is there a write-in on the presidential ballot still?
Yeah, of course there is.
There's got to be, right? It's America.
I
it's
get
freedom.
some votes every year.
Yeah, Jack gets some votes.
Jack actually might get another one this year.
Yeah, so you know what, Jack? Given everything that's happening, I might vote for you as well. Vote for Jack for president and vote for Security Weekly for the 2016 Social Security Awards Best Podcast. SecurityWeekly.com/vote. Write it in, Security Weekly. Go vote today. And write in Jack Daniel. They'll probably think that you're a drunk. I don't vote for Jack Daniel.
Because he's already nominated.
He's on all the bottles of whiskey I drink.
Wow.
Jack the president.
I tell you what, here in West Warwick, Jack, you'd get a lot of votes.
Over there, yes. Right down the street from the courthouse there.
That's right. That's right. It's convenient.
More pints and half pints than.
Well, thanks everyone. Thanks everyone for watching and listening. We'll see everyone next week. Larry, cue music.
Cue music.
There it is.
Oh, there
Take
it
us
is.
out.
Hey, over and out. Bye.